Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Peace, love, and positivity to you. My name is Sohum, and today I'm bringing you a triple reaction and lyrical analysis to The Chicks. This is technically my second time ever listening to The Chicks. I did a rather recent reaction to the Fleetwood Mac song Landslide, and in that video I actually ended up hearing The Chicks' cover of Landslide and really loved their style. So today it's going to be my first major step into their world. I'm assuming we're going to get a lot of country elements along with their beautiful harmonies and cool arrangements. So I'm super excited to hear what they've got in the form of these original tracks. And I guess one last point for the structure of this reaction, we're going to first listen to all three songs just to have all of that under our belts, and then afterwards I'm going to do full lyrical analyses for each of the three songs to come away with some deeper understanding. Before we jump into this, a massive thank you goes to Adam for making this reaction request. Now, my friends, let's jump into it. Those are some pink boots. Oh. I always get confused if it's fiddle or violin. Sounds more fiddly.
I said I wanna touch the earth. I wanna break it in my hands. I wanna grow something wild and unruly.
Like the earth is soiled, breaking it apart.
In the comfort of your arms. On a pillow of blue bonnets. In a blanket made of stars.
The twang in those strings.
Good to me. I said, Cowboy, take me away.
Oh yeah, this is immediately a bop. Set me free, baby.
Closer to you.
Wow, I like this. Like, super well arranged. Like, the ending of the vocals bled perfectly into the strings.
I wanna skip and not fall. I wanna look at the horizon and not see a building standing.
So I don't know if I've commented. So we have a banjo, acoustic guitar, a fiddle, and it sounds like there's some slide, like pedal steel slide guitar happening, though I'm not seeing it.
I wanna skip and not fall. I wanna look at the horizon and not see a building standing tall. I wanna be the only one.
That wind up.
For miles and miles, except for maybe you and your simple smile. Oh, it sounds good to me. Yes, it sounds so good to me. Cowboy, take me away. Fly this girl as high as you can into the wild blue.
I like that a lot.
Set me free, oh, I pray. Closer to heaven above and closer to you. Closer to I said I wanna touch the earth.
You know, this is definitely not a correct comment to make, but like having this kind of, I'll call it fiddle, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this like fiddle solo, this sequence reminds me of Lindsey Sterling, and I only did one reaction to Lindsey Sterling on the channel, but I had listened to her for quite many years. By the way, if you don't know Lindsey Stirling, she is like one of the most amazing violinists out there, and she was one of the, I don't know if original is the right word, but she definitely was super big on social media like 15 years ago. I'm just reminded of of her soloing from this part here. Break it in my arms. Yeah. It's such an interesting line. Break the earth. Oh wow. The grass has been growing in that high rise. The old school green screen. Dude, that is so catchy. And the handoff between all of these strings, they're so good at interweaving them, but also switching off. Atop a dam. I thought they were like in New York City or something. That is awesome. Cowboy, Take Me Away. I like that song, and it showcases a lot of what I had already admired about the Chicks from my landslide reaction. The harmonies, the arrangement of the multiple strings with different qualities. Like, you think of the fiddle and its quality, its timbre, it's like this kind of mix. It's not too oaky. It's a little bit thinner than what you may hear from like a viola, for example. But then next to like a banjo where it's a lot thinner, more, let's say higher. It's not higher pitched, but higher timbre, if that's a way to describe it. And then you have the acoustic guitar, which kind of like rests nicely in the middle. There's a whole lot that's going on between those three, but then you stack on top of that 3 additional vocals, because we can also consider vocals as a string instrument, and that means there's 6 strings at the very least in this composition, and they all at different moments took the spotlight, and I like the melody a lot. One thing I'll say, this is more personal, but I recently, maybe like, God, my sense of time is awful. Probably 3 weeks ago at this point, I revisited Nashville, Tennessee, and got to experience and soak up a lot of the music scene there. I wish I had listened to this. I think this Chick's reaction has been pending for some time, but I wish I had done this reaction before going to Nashville, because this feels like the perfect vibe for the road trip down, but additionally just being there, because I listened to all kinds of bands when I was there, a lot of small time bands, and there was one group that, now thinking back, if I had heard the Chicks, I would say they reminded me of the Chicks in terms of style, not all the instruments, but at least in terms of the kind of like up and down vocal harmonies. And one thing about this song in particular that I like is I feel like once you learn the lyrics of this song, this is the kind of track that all of you and your friends are just going to sing along to in this like massive chorus. It just has this very communal feel about it. But yeah, a great first start with the chicks here. And like I said, we're going to do all the lyrical analysis at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. But we're going to jump into the next track here, Top of the World.
I wished I was smarter. I wished I was stronger.
So the lyrics they open up with.
I wished I loved Jesus.
Oh, wow.
The way my wife does.
Okay, from the perspective of the husband.
It'd have been easier instead of any longer. I wished I could have stood where you would have been proud. That won't happen now. That won't happen now. There's a whole lot of singing. It's never gonna be heard.
I have chills from this.
Hearing every day without so much as a word somehow.
Oh, the falsetto.
Think I
It's not even falsetto for real. For me, it's falsetto, but for her, it's just this like thinner, breathy tone that just like sits atop of you like this personal cloud. It's very, very gentle. This seems like a more serious song. I don't know if it's rooted in any personal story for the members of the Chicks or something that they kind of arrived at. But I'll try to piece this one together.
without so much as a word somehow. Think I broke the wings off the little songbird. She's never gonna fly to the top of the world right
Great
now.
harmony. And with the lows in the bass, now more pronounced than in the last track.
I don't have to answer any of these questions. Don't have no guidance.
Wow, I was like thinking like, am I seeing double? But they're interposing the dad with the, I think it's the wife or daughter.
Sit in my chair.
Whoa.
One night they called me for supper, but I never got up. I stayed right there in my chair. There's a whole lot of singing that's never gonna be heard, disappearing every day without so much as a word.
Oh my god, that melody. Oh. That just traveled all the way up my spine, from my knees all the way up.
Songbird, she's never gonna fly to the top of the world right now.
Oh my god, those are such cathartic moments.
I wish
And now it's empty.
Wish that I showed you.
Oh my god, I feel like this is a song about regret, about a life unlived, and now that the opportunity to live that life is gone or to have those shared experiences, now all you have to think about are the few memories you had and the regret for not having formed more. And that's why it's coming from the perspective of both the father and I think it's the daughter here, because they both realized they missed out, but time only moves forward. That is a powerful image, the empty chair.
Wish that I showed you all of the things I was on the inside. I pretend to be sleeping when you come in the morning
And is this woman here the father's mother? Is this the previous generation? I think the only reason I'm picking that up is because of the attire. But now it makes sense because if the child, the boy, is the father, then that's where he learned this behavior, and it's passed down generationally. Because he's looking for the connection, but she turns away. Don't know why. Wow.
Everyone's singing, we just wanna be heard, disappearing every
Oh my god, so now they're all... Okay, so the father brushing his mother's hair, then the granddaughter brushing her father's hair, and then back to the... Dude, this is too good.
disappearing every day without so much as a word somehow.
Wow, and she just pushes him away. Terrible.
Wanna grab a hold of that little songbird, take her for a ride to the top of the world right now.
Wow, I love this song for an entirely different reason than the first. Oh my god, and this is the moment where the... Yeah, I love the melody, I love the emotionality in all of this. Oh yeah. The rich strings in there. Wow, and now it's her, right? Her opportunity to break the cycle. Wow. The crash zoom on the chair. Dude, I love this. What a great song. I love it for all of the reasons you might suspect. The melody, the strings, the meaning, the story underneath all of it, which really the center of this whole song is the meaning here. Can we just all agree to identify all of the different generational curses that we suffer from and just work at them so they don't continue to harm the next generation? Can we just do that? Truly, what's the point of tolerating all of the unending suffering when we can play a direct role in cutting it off? Because now, with a lot of the resources available, there's more open dialogue around these topics in general. And it's giving all of us opportunities to learn from what's out there and reflect on what's happening in our own lives, whether it's in our home or even in our own inner world. It's not like there is a perfect sort of utopia that we're needing to strive for and there's no other solution. The solution is just to improve your own circumstance, whatever that may look like. 1% every single day compounds And it doesn't just compound within yourself, it compounds everywhere. Think about the influence and impact you have on your best friends, on your parents, on your children. Imagine that, and now every single day you just give a little bit more, look a little bit more inward, dispel all of the different problems you may have slowly but surely. And now imagine everybody else does this. We don't have to be perfect on day one. We don't have to be perfect in year 50 on this process, but the world looks a lot better than it did before. And it's not a utopia because we are always going to be prone to error, and we can still move the needle in a positive direction. Dude, I love that song, man. I think that's my favorite of the two. If I want something that's more emotional, more thought-provoking, and if I want something that's more like poppy, I will go with the first track. But again, we're going to get to the meaning of all these songs too, because there was some interesting stuff that I noted in the first track. But let's keep it pushing. Check out the final song here, Not Ready to Make Nice. I don't know why, but like immediately I'm reminded of the music video for Never Too Late by 3 Days Grace.
Forgive sounds good. Forget, I'm not sure I could. They say time heals everything, but I'm still waiting. I'm through with doubt.
Oh, I like that texture in the strum.
Left for me to figure out.
It's panned left if you have headphones
I've
on.
paid a price, and I'll keep paying. I'm not ready to make nice. I'm not ready to back down. I'm still mad as hell, and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to make it right. I probably wouldn't if I could, 'cause I'm mad as hell. Can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should. I know you said
I love this song too, man. What is that line?
you said
A bit of Bart Simpson stuff happening here. To talk without thinking is to shoot without aiming. Bars.
can't you just get over it? It turned my whole world around, and I kinda like it. Lay my bed and I sleep like a baby with no regrets, and I don't mind saying it's a sad, sad story when a mother will teach her daughter that she ought to hate a perfect stranger. And how in the world can the words that I said send somebody so over the edge that they'd write me a letter saying that I better shut up and sing on the
Oh.
top of the open.
Oh, it's so cinematic.
I'm not ready to make nice. I'm not ready to back down. I'm still mad as hell, and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to make it right. I probably wouldn't if I could, 'cause I'm mad as hell. Can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should. I'm not ready to back down. I'm still mad as hell, and I don't have time to go round and
Those vocals are soaring. Listen to all the layers.
to make it right. I probably wouldn't if I could, 'cause I'm mad as hell. Can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should. What it is you think I should.
Dude, the chicks have won me fully over.
Forgive sounds good.
Forget? Yeah.
I'm not sure I could. They say time heals everything.
Right back to the intro.
But I'm still waiting.
Wow. Dude, the chicks, man. And the intense death stare at the end here. I really like them. They are such good songwriters, amazing performers. Like I mentioned, I love the arrangements of the songs I've heard. It shows up in the strings. It certainly shows up in the vocals. And that is not an easy thing to put together because you have three competing ideas for what you would like to do. And I don't know their whole backroom process for how they decide to like add certain melodies when. You could imagine like one vocalist, they put down the main vocal line and then the other two kind of add their bells and whistles after the fact. But they all at different points are doing completely independent things. So to be able to weave all of those together, I've used this analogy before to describe other musical phenomenon, but the three of them come together as this like triple helix structure that just weaves and weaves and weaves in a way that is unbreakable. And if you were to remove one of those threads, yes, it could still work, but you would be lacking on a major part of the identity of the Chicks song. That's what it feels to me when I hear them sing, and I would make the exact same statement for what they're doing with the strings as well. There's not too much variation in terms of like chord progressions within the songs, more so the details around what is being played acoustically or in the violin or banjo or whatever, those details are changing. And to be honest, it's more fun to focus on those smaller details because this is all new for me, and because there's a lot being thrown at me at once in terms of this arrangement, it makes it a bit easier when there are certain elements of the mix that are more stable, foundational. But I think out of the three songs today, my favorite was the second track. It definitely got me the most emotional. This third one here, Not Ready to Make Nice, is another emotional track, but it's coming from a different kind of place. It's coming from a place of they've been wronged, or like the narrator has been wronged in some kind of way, and they're being asked to forgive, but they're not quite ready to yet, because forgetting is so hard, and there's a lot of hot emotions around whatever the situation is. Let's jump into the lyrics of these songs here. So we're going to start with Cowboy, Take Me Away. I said I want to touch the earth, I want to break it in my hands. These two lines, like right off the bat, had me like hooked lyrically. It painted a very vivid image in my mind, and what I thought was somebody taking the globe and crushing the globe, almost like some kind of ancient god, and their big hands crushing the earth. But really, the earth is just used to describe like soil and the dirt. So I want to break that dirt in my hands, grow something wild and unruly. I want to sleep on the hard ground in the comfort of your arms. And, you know, naturally when you're like planting seeds, you're going to have to package the soil in a way that kind of, I'm not a gardener, but to my understanding, you have to like kind of coddle the seed within that soil and then place it back in, whether it's the pot or the actual ground, so that there is enough healthy soil and space for it to grow. But you can clearly see that she wants to be connected to nature, but in the comfort of your arms, on a pillow of blue bonnets, in a blanket made of stars. Oh, it sounds good to me. Like the very like prototypical, we're in the back of our truck looking, stargazing, enjoying the sights and sounds of nature and just being in love together. Peak human experience. I said, Cowboy, take me away, fly this girl as high as you can into the wild blue. Set me free, oh, I pray, closer to heaven above and closer to you, closer to you. So she loves this cowboy, and she views this cowboy as a sort of doorway to true experience and worlds beyond. And so she's asking this cowboy to just take her wherever the limit is, push past it. And I like the description of the wild blue, the super awe-inspiring sky that is to a human never ending, even though scientifically we know, like, okay, the sky above, like, there is an end to it. We can break through the stratosphere and enter space, but then you think of space too, how endless it is. There's always something to be inspired by, and you want to go to that place with the person you love the most. Just go to the ends of the earth. That's what I say. Like, my girlfriend and I, for example, we love just to do new things together because it's so fun to experience newness together. Also just have experience together, period, but there's something to novelty as well. I want to walk and not run. I want to skip and not fall. I want to look at the horizon and not see a building standing tall. Somehow this lyric reminds me of the System of a Down Aerials song. Always want to play, but you never want to lose. With life, you have to risk injury, you have to risk failure. So there's a lot of things that you want to do with the hope that you don't get any negative repercussions, but also that's not necessarily reality. But she's still extremely aspirational, which, naturally people don't want to fall. And I want to look at the horizon and not see a building standing tall. So this specifically seems more literal. It's like, I don't want to see city at all. I just want to see nature. I want to be the only one for miles and miles, except for maybe you and your simple smile. Oh, it sounds good to me. Yes, it sounds so good to me. Cowboy, take me away. Fly this girl as high as you can into the wild blue. Set me free, oh, I pray. Closer to heaven, above, and closer to you, closer to you. So she just wants peace and quiet, isolation from modernity. And I understand that, you can think of like the most egregious example, like New York City, the most bustling city ever. It's so densely packed. The trains are constantly overflowing and trash on the streets and the cabs everywhere. It's chaos. And there is a certain luster to that chaos, but also, pining for the quiet. I think I always kind of switch back and forth between the two. I would love to have access to city life and be there when I want that bustling, fast-paced, constant experience after experience, but I also want to have the remote house in the mountains. I said I want to touch the earth, break it with my hands. I want to grow something wild and unruly. Oh, it sounds so good to me. Cowboy, take me away. Fly this girl as high as you can into the wild blue. Set me free, oh, I pray. Closer to heaven above and closer to you, closer to you, closer to you. So there's a lot of double meanings that are happening in this song in particular, because I think one meta understanding I have is this search for freedom and authentic existence. But there's this other part that is specifically pointing out like non-nature city life, and proximity to a great many people as not being authentic. And I can understand where the sentiment comes from, to want to live a simple life, and everyone has preferences that are totally understandable. But the way I think about it is you can live authentically in a lot of different environments. It's a matter of what suits you. And that isn't to say that city living is inauthentic. It's just a different life. And some people are going to be more suited for that life than others. And not that there's any judgment cast in this song, but it's important to not cast those judgments after the fact because you have a certain preference for how you would like to live your own life. So there can be this desire to escape whatever circumstance you're in, but that doesn't mean you're escaping something that is inherently bad for you. It could be, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. Cool song. It's interesting given the meaning, like how kind of upbeat it was. You would almost imagine like a song that upbeat to have simpler lyrics, but I like what the chicks are giving us. So let's check out the lyrics for the second track here. This is Top of the World, which definitely, like, as I mentioned, had the most emotional punch. And, something to note when we do this lyrical analysis for this track in particular is a lot of the meaning was embedded in the visuals of Top of the World. So I'll do my best to kind of thread as much of that understanding as I can into this. But we started off with, I wished I was smarter than stronger. I wished I loved Jesus the way my wife does. I wish it had been easier instead of any longer. It seems like whatever life he had been living somehow brought him to a point where he could no longer do things for himself and became bedridden, chair-ridden, and now if life is longer, it doesn't mean you're living that high of a quality. It kind of feels like all of the time you spent kind of hustling and grinding away and doing things other than what was more important was all for naught, because in the end you didn't get to actually experience anything together. And now you wish for these other things to have happened when you could have done those things before. I wished I could have stood where you could have. I wish I could have stood where you would have been proud. That won't happen now. That won't happen now. There's a whole lot of singing that's never going to be heard, disappearing every day without so much as a word somehow. And these songs about regret often just speak about, like, they feel bad about missing certain things, but then don't often flip the script and say what it is that they should have done. The way I think about it is, if we're feeling regret for not having done something, imagine you in your current mind now, you have a set of regrets, but you also still exist in a timeline that only moves forward. So what are you going to do? Are you going to not try to better your life just because what happened before wasn't to your liking? Obviously, different circumstances allow you to do different things in the future, depending on whatever bed you've made for yourself, but you can still change the bed in smaller and meaningful ways. And maybe a good tool to visualize what those things are that you would like to change for yourself is to put your current self in the mindset of yourself in 5 years, and what would the version of you in 5 years from now say that they regretted not doing? And then just, as your current self, do those things that your future self regretted you not doing, because you can reverse engineer your life to be fulfilling. You see what I mean? Think I broke the wings off that little songbird. This is just a heartbreaking line, because when you think of the songbird, they're so precious, they're so sweet, they are there to sing. But I broke the wings. I broke the spirit of hope, essentially. She's never going to fly to the top of the world right now. And you can think of a little bird too as like the younger generation, free flying, not a care in the world, trying to make their mark. But if you break the wings right away, then you can only fly so high at that point. You've kind of started life with a bit of a handicap in that regard. Top of the world, I don't have to answer any of these questions. Don't have no God to teach me no lessons. I come home in the evening, sit in my chair. One night they called me for supper, but never got up. So he passed away, didn't have the answers, and now the opportunity has fully escaped him and everyone else. I stayed right there in my chair. There's a whole lot of singing that never gonna be heard, disappearing every day without so much as a word somehow. think I broke the wings off that little songbird. She's never going to fly to the top of the world right now. And to be honest, like, this being the most heartbreaking line is also the most self-aware line in the entire song, because it takes responsibility for not knowing what they may have done to hurt the future generation, but knowing that something happened and it was at their hand. And it's so often the case that people just won't take accountability for the ways in which they've incidentally hurt others, let alone like on purpose. But when these things happen, when we hurt someone that we're supposed to care for, raise, do we blame them for feeling a certain kind of way? Or can we look inwards and think of, okay, maybe I can see their perspective. I didn't parent in the exact right way and I've made mistakes myself. To believe that we are perfect actors in every single situation is to embrace delusion. And it's not to say that you didn't do a good job either, but so often with us as humans, we do a lot of good. We also do a lot of bad. We're not perfect, and that's the point. We appreciate and praise the things that were great, and that brings us closer, and we look at the things that didn't go so right and try to understand and rectify to build a stronger understanding of the other, what makes them tick, what makes them sad. This kind of stuff is so vital, and that's why parenting is the hardest job, because you have to impart all of the wisdom that you have and don't have on to a new human. It's insane work. I wish I'd known you, wished I'd shown you. And I think the perspective changes here to the daughter. So I wish I'd known you, I wish I'd shown you all of the things I was on the inside. I pretend to be sleeping when you come in the morning to whisper goodbye. Oh wait, no, it's not to the daughter, is it? I pretend to be sleeping. This may still be the dad, but because it's like multi-generational, I think like all of the people in the story could be the narrator for any of these paragraphs at any given time, except for probably the literal chair situation. But even then we saw all of the interposing videos with everybody in that same chair. So let's just take it as any of these verses could be sung by any of them. I pretend to be sleeping when you come in the morning to whisper goodbye, go to work in the rain. I don't know why. And it sucks to do this, right? Because it's like an opportunity for connection, but you pretend to sleep to avoid the connection. It's these little moments in the day that end up mattering the most. And if we forgo them more often than not, that is how you slowly part. Because everyone's singing, we just want to be heard. Disappearing every day without so much as a word somehow. Want to grab a hold of that little songbird, take her for a ride to the top of the world right now. Acknowledgement that everyone is their own person with unique characteristics that make them different, but, to not, how can I say this? When you disappear every single day into your own world, you're never going to hear the songs of others. So you're not putting yourself in the position to grow that connection. Similarly with the pretend sleeping. But now the recognition of wanting to hold that little songbird, take her for a ride to the top of the world right now. Because the top of the world, the best possible experience is one of full loving connection with one another. And then that just gets repeated here. It's such a beautiful song. Like, anything that brings us together, we should just do more of, to be honest. And there's so many things in our modern world, especially when it comes to technology, that give us a sort of mirage of connection, but it isn't connection in the truest sense. And I wish I wish technology could get to a point where you're not faking anything, but you have a closer connection. Because like the connection I feel with you guys on this channel, I impart my entire personality, my mind, body, spirit into this camera, but I know that it's asynchronous and I can't get your dynamic feedback here. So a lot of this feels like I am putting my whole spirit into this, and I don't necessarily get to know what your songs are to the degree that you get to hear mine. All of the ways in which we can connect with one another more than we are now is something to be, I think, sought after. And that's why it's also important to have so many safe spaces for us to just be completely ourselves. And, we just accept each other as is. This is a beautiful song, though, all about like that cycle of generational trauma that a lot of people deal with, whether they know it or not. And it's extremely hard to be the one in that cycle to notice it and want to break out of it, because so much of your literal physiology is pulling you back to that median place. But we can do it, guys. We can do it. We can break these chains, if you will. Let's check out the last song here, the lyrics. Not ready to make nice. We talked a little bit about it too. But this whole idea of apologies, forgiveness, forgetting. I've talked about this, I think, on my Patreon. I have the series where I just do like walk and talks, and it's just a voice memo. But I don't know if I actually posted this one. But we'll jump into the lyrics and then we'll discuss. Forgive sounds good. Forget, not so sure I could. They say time heals everything, but I'm still waiting. Like, everybody knows, like, okay, if you can forgive and forget, that's going to be great. But oftentimes when you're wronged, it doesn't feel so great, especially if you don't anticipate the behavior to change. Okay, I forgave you for what you did to me, but does that change the future outcome, that you may do it again? Time doesn't necessarily heal in that instance, because with enough time, it's going to happen again, and the wound gets reopened. And some wrongs, even if they happen once, are so bad that forgetting is going to be nearly impossible. You're just always going to be hurt by that thing and wear that scar on your heart, in your body. And in this case, this person has been wronged to the point that they still haven't healed. So I'm still waiting for that healing. I'm through with doubt. There's nothing left for me to figure out. I've paid a price and I'll keep paying. I'm through with doubt. Nothing left for me to figure out. Let's keep reading. I'm not ready to make nice. I'm not ready to back down. Still mad as hell, and I don't have time to go round and round and round. I think here the going round and round refers to going through the loops of apology, mistake, apology, forgiveness, mistake, apology, forgiveness, mistake. You just keep doing it because the mistake is not being corrected in the future. It just continues to go round and round, and I don't have any patience anymore for that situation. I'm just going to set my boundary flat because I've paid this price, and I guess I'll keep paying. Is that the conclusion? Hold on. I'm missing a bit of the logic, but I have an idea. I'm through with doubt. There's nothing left for me to figure out. So, like, I am certain in the way that I've been wronged. I'm not going to question myself. I've paid a price and I'll keep paying. The price of exposure to the potential hurt. I'm not ready to make nice. I'm not ready to back down. So maybe the price that's being paid is holding on to the resentment. Because that is a thing when it comes to forgiveness, is to forgive is not for the other person. It's actually for yourself, so you no longer hold on to the negativity from the situation. You can understand that you were hurt, and you can understand why they did something, or that they're a different person and they did this thing to hurt you. And if you continue to hold on to the being hurt part, that keeps you stuck there. That doesn't necessarily absolve the other person of their wrongdoing. It just means that you're not going to endlessly self-flagellate in this way. And it's weird to view it as self-flagellation, but technically it is, because your body doesn't know the difference of whether or not what you're internalizing is coming from yourself or from somebody else. And in fact, so much of what interests me about this concept of forgiveness is the fact that we also need to consider the relationship we have with ourselves. The importance of being able to forgive ourselves is just as important as being able to forgive someone else. It's too late to make it right. I probably wouldn't if I could, because I'm mad as hell, can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should. I know you said. I mean, I would disagree that it's too late to make it right, but making it right doesn't have to mean complete reconciliation of the relationship. It just means I put this to rest in one way or another, whether that means we stick together as friends in a situation or we part ways. Either way is plausible and a fine conclusion. That is what it means to make it right, in my opinion. I probably wouldn't if I could. So holding on to it, I wouldn't if I could do it. A little bit vindictive because I'm mad as hell. Can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should. I know you said. And it's funny because I feel like the you think I should is not just only referring to the other aggressor, but also me, someone who's like, hey, you could probably take a bit of a higher road in this regard for yourself, but she wants to hold on to the madness, wants to hold on to the anger. And it's understandable, but channeling our anger in maybe proper ways does go a long way in the long run. Let's keep going. Can't you just get over it? It turned my whole world around, and I kind of like it. I made my bed and I sleep like a baby, with no regrets, and I don't mind saying, it's a sad, sad story when a mother will teach her daughter that she ought to hate a perfect stranger. Again with the generational stuff. Okay, so can't you just get over it? Like this pain you felt. Just the kind of operative question. It turned my whole world around and I kind of like it. So I like the anger that I'm holding on to because it's serving me in some way. I made my bed and I sleep like a baby with no regrets, and I don't mind saying. So she's not feeling bad. She acknowledges the emotion that she has is more violent, you may say, and it's still okay for her to have it. It's a sad, sad story when a mother will teach her daughter that she ought to hate a perfect stranger. And how in the world can the words that I said send somebody so over the edge that they'd write me a letter saying that I better shut up and sing or my life will be over? I don't exactly know what this is referring to here. It seems like it's being taken from a very literal thing that's happened. Someone's writing her death threats via letter. It's interesting. So like somehow she feels like the victim in this situation. I really don't know what the situation is. Maybe I missed something in the video. But the narrator did something that was taken terribly by somebody else who wrote them a very angrily worded letter. And they hate her. And now she's wondering why they hate me so much. And they are the ones not forgiving and forgetting. So I almost feel like the narration was up front. It felt like the lyrics were coming from the narrator and about somebody else that wronged them, but it feels like it's getting flipped now to somebody wronging this person. I'm not ready to make nice. I'm not ready to back down. I'm still mad as hell, and I don't have time to go round and round and round. Or maybe they're just like both back and forth, like at odds with each other and not willing to back down. So like we have hate mail and I'm pushing back on the hate mail and they're pushing back further and their hate is fueling my hate and round we go. Maybe that's the takeaway. it's too late to make it right. I probably wouldn't if I could, because I'm mad as hell. Can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should. I'm not ready to back down. Still mad as hell, and I don't have time to go round and round. I think a lot of this gets repeated here. And then we return back to the intro. Forgive sounds good. Forget, not sure I could. They say time heals everything, but I am still waiting. So somehow, some way, it feels like the idea of forgiveness is sort of understood through these lyrics in this song, like not holding on to the resentment endlessly, but at the same time, she's like, but I want to. I can't forget. I'm not going to let it go. The wound I have, not healed, and maybe I feel good reopening this wound routinely, because maybe it serves her or whatever. If there is a specific context for this song, let me know what it is, because maybe that would help me unpack what's going on with that letter. But for me, the way I think about forgiveness at a high level, as I'm like just learning more about this concept, is to forgive is an act of self-love rather than doing it for the other person. And if you're like a chronic people pleaser, then you may forgive somebody just to get over with the uncomfortable situation. Rather, the reason for forgiveness shouldn't be for people pleasing. It should be because you don't want to hold on to the pain caused by a situation for any longer than you have to. Same thing can be said about the resentment that can often build from a situation. And it's not a bad thought to want to forgive somebody else to help alleviate their own guilt, but it doesn't necessarily work in the same way that you would think it would, because if somebody else truly feels guilty about their behavior, what they're going to do is, through their actions, show you that they've changed their behavior. Because apologies, they're only words, right? Talk is cheap. It's your actions that will actually speak to your character. And chances are, if you've hurt somebody over and over and over again, that's just your character. Nothing about you is changing to the degree that allows this relationship to be compatible. And again, I'll extend the argument further to the internal dynamic where you have wronged yourself and now you have to learn to forgive yourself and reconcile that. Otherwise, you live in a perpetual inner turmoil. Imagine all of the little promises you make and don't keep to yourself. And you think, man, I'm so stupid for not having kept that promise, and I don't forgive myself because I should be better than that. And you endlessly self-criticize. You never, at one point, softened and forgave yourself. Not to say that you shouldn't change in a certain way, but to merely take your foot off of the pedal and get out of that state of like fight or flight and actually connect with yourself. Because the goal of an apology, of forgiveness, is to reach homeostasis, which is connection, rather than, just getting out of the discomfort. We have to go through the discomfort to be peaceful on the other side. I hope that makes sense. Let me know what your thoughts are on these tracks today, whether it's about the music or the meaning. But for me, this is a really fun reaction, so I would definitely be down to do more chicks on the channel. That sounded real bad, but whatever, we'll go with it. If you'd like to request a reaction yourself, you can do so by hitting the first link in the description box below. That is the best way to support my channel. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.